The last part of this chapter is on leukocytes. Leukocytes are true cells because they have a nucleus as well as organelles. That's unlike the erythrocytes, which do not have a nucleus. The nuclei or the leukocytes tend to be 1.5 to 3 times larger than the erythrocytes, so they're more easily identifiable on a microscope slide, which we'll be seeing coming up. The main job of the leukocytes are that they're the first on the scene when there is a bacteria or a pathogen. So they initiate an immune response that defends the body against pathogens. And again, there's the 5 different leukocytes that you need to know: neutrophils, lymphocytes, monocytes, eosinophils, and basophils. From order of the most common, the neutrophils, to the least common, which are the basophils. Leukocytes come in 2 different groups. So this is not about how many of each different type we have. They are subdivided into 2 classes based on the presence or the absence of granular organelles. So when you look at the microscope slides coming up, you're going to see some that have a more grainy appearance in their cytoplasm. So this is not the nucleus. The nucleus is going to be in a specific shape, but the cytoplasm is going to be grainy. The ones that do not have a grainy appearance in the cytoplasm are going to be called agranulocytes. So we have granulocytes, and there's 3 of those, and agranulocytes. The granulocytes are going to be neutrophils, eosinophils, and basophils. The agranulocytes are going to be lymphocytes and monocytes. So this slide is showing the micrographs of all 5 different types of leukocytes. So let's first start with our granulocytes. And the most common type of leukocyte is a neutrophil. And when you identify neutrophils, you want to pay attention to 2 things. You want to pay attention to the shape of the nucleus. The next important thing is the presence of granules that are in the cytoplasm. So in this case, you can see granules in the cytoplasm here. You also see the shape of the nucleus. It's going to look like it has multiple nuclei, and they're kind of segmented. The next granulocyte is an eosinophil, and it has dark grains in the cytoplasm. It also looks like it has 2 parts of nuclei, but they are connected, and they almost look like they're in the shape of kind of a weird kidney or a fetus. The third granulocyte is a basophil. Remember, these are the most rare. And the basophil is definitely going to be grainy in appearance. And it's almost difficult to differentiate exactly where the nucleus is, but it's sort of in just a really weird, funny shape. The agranulocytes are going to include the lymphocyte and the monocyte. And in the lymphocyte, the nucleus is going to take up almost the entire cell. And in the monocyte, the shape of the nucleus is going to be somewhat oval in appearance. This is the one that can look more like a kidney, actually, than this one. This one looks like it has 2, they call it bilobed nuclei. So this one is not so much a kidney, the eosinophil. It's more the monocyte. So let's look at the names of the leukocytes, what their characteristics are, and the different types of functions that we have. So the neutrophils, the eosinophils, and basophils are all granulocytes. The neutrophil, which is the most common, has a multi-lobed nucleus, and the cytoplasm has granules. Its main function is that it destroys pathogens, especially bacteria. So what I'm doing is really highlighting the most important characteristics and functions for each of the leukocytes. For the eosinophil, the nucleus is bilobed and it has granules in it. Its major job is that it plays a role in allergens. So when there is an allergy that's present, doctors would see an increase in the amount of eosinophils if they did a differential white blood cell count. And it releases chemical mediators specifically to destroy parasitic worms. For the basophil, the nucleus is also bilobed. It's a little more difficult to actually see the shape of the basophil. And it releases histamine, which is a vasodilator, heparin, and also increases inflammation during allergic attacks. So let's go back and look at those three granulocytes. The neutrophil is the most common one, and it's going to have, looks like it has many partial nuclei to it. The eosinophil is going to be bilobed, and the basophil is going to kind of be difficult to tell the shape of the nucleus, although it is bilobed. The agranulocytes, the two agranulocytes are lymphocytes and monocytes. The lymphocyte is going to have a round or slightly indented nucleus, which fills up almost the entire cell. So it's only the rim of cytoplasm that surrounds the nucleus. And its main job is that it's responsible for immune cell antibody or immune cell activity and producing antibodies. Specifically, it plays the role of either becoming natural killer cells, T cells, or B cells. And T cell is an abbreviation for saying T lymphocyte or B lymphocyte. It means the same thing. Finally, the monocytes are kidney-shaped or C-shaped, and they exit blood cells to become macrophages. And so when they're in the tissues, they destroy pathogens like bacteria, viruses, cellular debris, as well as dead cells. So let's go back and take a look at those two. We see the lymphocyte here, which again, the nucleus takes up almost the entire cell. These become natural killer cells, T cells, and B cells. The monocytes, which have almost a kidney-shaped nucleus, are going to develop into macrophages, which go into the tissues and destroy pathogens like bacteria. So you should know the characteristic of the different leukocytes as well as the function and be able to identify them like on the previous slide that you've seen.